Now take your guess and make a list of the conditions to become a superpower. Or rather, give a reply to the question below. What is your major and foremost requisite element for a nation to become a superpower? 1. Being technologically advanced. 2. Highly developed democratic system. 3. Respecting human rights. 4. Having a large army. 5. A high GDP, gross domestic product per capita, over 30K. 6. All of the above. I guess you think number 6. That makes sense. A nation having all those characteristics is already registered as a superpower. But no, there is a number 7 I forgot to add to the options. That is none. Yeah, none. All these concepts and definitions are rubbish. Who cares about human rights on this planet? Please do not attempt to preach on democratic or any other values. By the way, I know I seem to be pessimistic, maybe angry. You know what? It's paradoxical, but it's because I really care for human rights. Let me stop here and have another perspective over the subject. What do you feel or think when somebody started talking about Japan? Let me give you a hint. A nation, technologically advanced and having a large GDP. I did not hear any rumor about the Japanese violating basic human rights. Hold on, look again above. At 6 items above. Does Japan fit into that definition? I believe she exactly matches with those 6 requisites, except that they have a relatively smaller army. On the other hand, I cannot say Japan is a superpower. Sorry. Why? Because Japan does not bear the most essential requisite of being a superpower. So, what is that element? Cool down. Let me finish what I've started first. Do you know that the US keeps subsidizing Japan regardless of her defense? You hear it right. The US is sending money to Japan to spend her defense needs. Wake up, bro. That's your money and mine. So, finally, we notice one of the black holes where tax payments are flowing into. What is worse is we're financing Japan's defense industry. Read what Ted Carpenter is Director of Foreign Policy and Studies at the Cato Institute, wrote his article called Policy Analysis as below. That U.S. subsidy, which has amounted to approximately $900 billion in 1995 dollars since the early 1950s, is a powerful incentive for the Japanese to continue free riding on the U.S. security guarantee. No, I do not intend to criticize the U.S. governments for their fallible acts furthermore. My point is to emphasize Japan is not a superpower. Actually, I'm not against Japan or anything Japanese. I just want to give an idea some nations like Japan cannot become superpowers, even though they're rich and democratic. You do not necessarily have to be highly democratic or respect all the human rights. If you have that tech, chin, bingo. Here you are a superpower. I guess you should have a better idea now of why all sensible nations are afraid of the possibility that Iran is about to have such a destructing technology. Nobody wants to go ahead and make an estimate what such a country like Iran would dare to do in a case that they have such nuke tech. All these fears arise from Iran's lack of responsibility in using such devastating technology. And now I am just to the point. The most crucial element of being a superpower is to have a competent and advanced nuclear technology so that it's no problem to manufacture nuke bombs as many as somebody likes to. Unfortunately, the overall armament trend all over the world started to soar up. China has recently declared she would assign a large deal of money out of her budget for military and arms purchasing purposes. Likewise, Russia and India jumped into the trend and revealed that they are planning new arms purchases. No need to say, most of these purchases will be likely for nuke arms. Sometimes I think the Cold War has never been over, just the opposite. Those days there were 2 superpowers. Nevertheless, I can count up to at least 10 nuclear arms nations. Oh, tell me, what is really happening in Syria? This country is bombing its nationals every day. Many innocent people keep dying. I wonder who will stop this tragedy. My eyes are looking to the US for help, but nothing happens. Soon I realized Syria is supported by 2 global superpowers, and that time, the mystery has been solved. I learned a new lesson. If the bully has nuclear arms, in other words, if he is a superpower, nobody can touch him. You know the country of North Korea, right? Yeah, the one having a young dictator come to the power recently after his dad's dad. This country is so close to the outer world that nobody even knows how many guys live over there. There is no official census. According to the estimates, approximately 25 million people live there. They are communist and way poor indeed. Their annual GDP per capita, revenue per person in a year, is around $1,250. Oh my God, that's a real worse living condition for the people living there. I believe they deserve better living standards, but right now, they do not live in a nice place. You know why I keep talking about this poor country? Because this country is an outstanding and great example for the spot where I want to arrive at. This poor country is one of the superpowers of the world. They have nuke tech, and they are even exporting their tech outside. Example, look at Iran. And it is a pity that these guys keep intimidating South Korea, threatening to assault with nuke bombs for a long time. Once you compare these two Koreas according to the criteria mentioned above, South Korea is way ahead of the North one. However, look at the destiny. The bully of the neighborhood has nuke arms power, so what happens to our human rights? Putting all this data together, the future does not hold better things in store for our old planet. I don't want to drag your mood into worse, I just want to draw your attention to the risks and challenges lurking in the dark. Maybe that would push us people to stop dangerous armament trends, even if it might take much time. Do we have another option?